Okay, today's June 7th, I think, and Brian wanted to discuss some of the framing issues down in the basement.
All right, well, here's my theory based on my experience, because what we got going, if you cut all these and form a pocket to recess that beam in and hang everything on it, you're going to lose any integrity you got here. And then you're going to have to try and do the lift in small segments, and what's going to happen is you're going to wind up just pushing the flooring off of the existing framers because they're not going to move. That's why I'm saying I got to put my 2x8s in this way, then put my main beam in this way, and then I got to lift all three simultaneously in order to push all this up in one piece. If you break it up, the flooring is going to separate off them joists, and you just created a whole new problem. And you got cracked ones that are hanging down. These all have to be jacked back up and bracketed in. But when we take all the stress off it by putting the main beam that's lifting everything simultaneously, these are going to self-correct. Those will draw right back up. So that's my theory on why I want to put the beam down lower underneath the new 2x8 carriers so I can push all this up simultaneously. Because it's going to separate if you try to do it in chunks, and you just created a whole new fudge. And time-wise, you know, there might be a couple blocks got to go in, but most of the webbing will stay in. We only take the webbing out and block where we need to.
You want to talk about your 2x12 thoughts going along to pick up these corners?
Well, that was I gave George the drawing of the 2x12, 2x10, then our 2x wall underneath that. And it just forms a capital on the top that'll support all these in one fell swoop rather than have to come through and push each one up separately and try to tie them together with a little tiny bracket, and they're still going to drop back down. You're never going to hold that up with a bracket. It's got to be held up from underneath.
We also have the issue, these 8x8s are not necessarily square. We can see right here that this one has a nice, there's a whole chunk there where it's not connected.
Yeah, where the bark comes out. So the bracket has to go way up high. Now you're not catching the bottom of it anyway. So you're still not gaining what you're trying to gain. And on the middle part of the house where the rafters run the other way, and this 8x8 needs to be supported, we've got the two main beams coming in here.
Hold on, I'm trying to get you in the picture as well so we can see.
We got two main beams going to come in here and come in here.
Wait, which beams?
There's two, what are they, B9s, I think?
Yeah, but they go east-west.
In this section?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, they go east-west with the joists.
Then
the only north-south carrier is this rotten one.
Right. Well, that's what it does, though. It's going to carry the 8x8. They run this way, but they're going to carry the 8x8 by being up underneath it. And hence it'll carry what these short spans. Again, with a capital on there, it's going to carry all these. Because, you know,
none of these are even connected, nor do they have appropriate wood to connect to.
Well, we'll have to sister up the bad ones anyway, no matter what. But in order to get a full bearing, and where you got places like this right here, this rotted area here, see, that's barely catching. If you had a capital built underneath there, when you run that beam across, it's going to hold everything.
Anything else?
Just a capital plate. And same way on this back wall, and with this part of the room, we were discussing the framing layout on this. When these come across, you've got two lower beams coming across here that are going to carry the load, and then when you lay your full length joist across, they lap over the beam. You pin the laps together. That gives it the tie-in from side to side for the laterals. And then, you know, this will just have to, the only room that'll have to be blocked. Again, blocking in and slapping a few nails in it is way faster than trying to put a little tiny bracket in that's going to be piss poor on every one of them. They're hanging for what reason? This is the basement. You got any main beam you got in here is still going to maintain an 8-foot clearance, except for that back wall beam, which is 2 inches lower. Everything else maintains a 8-foot or better clearance anyway. And even then, you're going to have 4 inches exposed on the bottom of the beams with the recess.
6 inches.
6 inches.
6 inches.
So you're only talking about another 4 to 6 inches. Well,
Yeah.
7
Well,
inches.
the 4
exposure.
beams in this area where we're standing will be 7 inches.
Right.
Except for the beam over there. That one's larger.
Full
I think.
14 on that one.
Yeah, it's something big.
Yeah.
All right. My phone's ringing.
Yep.